Top 20 creepiest things found frozen in ice.
You never know what you're going to find hidden in the frozen tundras of the world.
Dinosaurs.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 creepiest things found frozen in ice. For this list, we're looking at many creepy, unsettling, or bizarre things that have been found frozen and preserved in ice.
Chat, what do you think is the craziest thing frozen in ice?
Number 20. Life forms in a subglacial lake. Life really does seem to find a way. Lake Vostok is a massive subglacial lake found in Antarctica, located beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet. The lake has been sealed away under 13,100 feet of ice for millions of years.
Oh, wow.
Russian scientists say they've drilled through more than 12,000 feet of Antarctic ice to reach a submerged lake, one that has been sealed off for 20 million years.
What?
They tout the accomplishment as being on par with the 1960s race to the moon.
That means no sunlight, unimaginably freezing temperatures, and immense physical pressure from the surface. Yet studies of ice cores have concluded that the lake could be home to exotic microbes.
NASA's chief scientist says the knowledge gained could transform the way we think about life.
In fact, one team found evidence of over 3,500 species. It's theorized that this...
Wait, but when we say 3,500 species, we're just on about microbes, right? Just organisms, not actual animals under there. Sealed under there for 20 million years in that condition. Just microbes, right? Literally just microbes.
Little society lives on its own recycled carbon. However, the results are debated, with other scientists believing that the samples were contaminated.
Here you see the first image of the bottom of subglacial Lake Willans. A very fine sediment formed by the movement of the glacier over rocks.
Number 19, a Martian meteorite. On December 27, 1984, a team from the Antarctic Search for Meteorites found a small fragment of Martian rock buried in the ice. Now known as Allen Hills 84001, the meteorite weighs just over 4 pounds and is estimated to have formed from molten rock over 4 billion years ago.
This meteorite had some glass inclusions in it, and when they picked those glass particles out and degassed them by heating, they got a sample of the Martian atmosphere.
Said meteorite made national headlines in 1996 when scientists claimed to have found fossils of microscopic bacteria within the rock, which seemingly confirmed that there had once been life on Mars. However...
Wait, couldn't the bacteria just go there from after the rock landing on Earth, though? Like, couldn't the meteorite just hit Earth and then the bacteria, or have they done all their science work to know that the bacteria was on there before? I don't know how it all works, but surely.
This claim was enormously controversial within the wider scientific community and was ultimately rejected due to a lack of substantial evidence.
See, I'm a scientist,
I'm determined that the American space program will put its full intellectual power and technological prowess behind the search for further evidence of life on Mars.
Life or no, a 4 billion-year-old rock from Mars is still pretty creepy on its own.
Yeah, that's cool.
Number 18, an entire mountain range. Located in East Antarctica is the Subglacial Gamburtsev mountain range. Discovered by Soviet geophysicist Grigory Gamburtsev, they're said to be the same size as the Alps. They tower roughly 9,000 feet high and run for about 750 miles.
Wait, isn't mountains that's frozen still like mountains though? It's not really hidden. It's just frozen mountains.
The only thing is, you can't actually see the mountains themselves, as they're buried under 2,000 feet of ice.
Oh.
We don't know about you, but we find the concept of an entire mountain range buried under 2,000 feet of ice weirdly disturbing.
Oh, wait, so you can't... Oh, okay, so there is mountains, but there's that much ice, it's covering it all, and it's just like flat. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's mad. That's a lot of ice. That's a lot of ice.
The Earth really is a fascinating place, isn't it? Number 17, sacrificed Incan children. In 1999, 3 mummies were found at the icy summit of Yuyayako, a stratovolcano located in the Atacama Desert. These mummies are known as the children of Yuyayako, and they could be the best preserved mummies in the entire world.
Oh my God, how old is that?
Virgins of the Sun were famous throughout the Inca Empire.
Oh, that's creepy.
Chronicles record that a special group were chosen each year to serve the sun god.
One is the body of a teenage girl, and the other 2 are children believed to be around 6 and 7 years old.
Some could be of a fairly young age. They could be 6 to 8 years. some maybe 10 years. Their beauty was one of the reasons for selecting them.
Mate, how old is? Did it say how old it is? They look more alive than some people walking around today. Than a lot of people walking around today. No wonder people are out there doing that cryogenic thing. That's gonna work, bro. That's gonna work. Imagine they brought them back to life.
And in some cases, even their parents might have offered them.
It's assumed that they're the victims of a human sacrifice meant to ensure a rich harvest, and that they were killed around the year 1500.
Those bodies look that good after 500 years. 500 years. Oh my God, yo, freeze me. Yo, chat, just like, would it actually blow your mind if they figured out a way how to bring them back to life? Because those bodies look intact. Do you know what I'm saying? Imagine they brought them back. It wouldn't even blow my mind if a news article came out and said, oh, brought back alive these mummies, it was frozen. Oh yeah, it is still crazy to think, James, actually, that 500 years ago, the human race was doing sacrifices. But then again, there's probably people who are still doing sacrifices today. I ain't gonna lie. In fact, they most definitely is.
They were heavily drugged with alcohol and coca, placed 5 feet underground while asleep, and left to die. A combination of the freezing temperatures and extremely dry air have helped preserve their bodies for centuries.
It was as if we were afraid at some
Oh, wait, no. So they died before frozen. Oh, so it wasn't frozen like cryogenic or whatever it is, right? It wasn't frozen alive. It was left there to die and then frozen. Oh, okay. So yeah, they definitely won't be able to bring them back then. Oh, man. Yo, that's tough though. That's crazy to think about. That is creepy.
We might wake this mummy up because she seemed just so alive.
Oh my God.
Number 16.
That's
Yucca the mammoth.
mind-blowing.
Now, just imagine coming across the mummified corpse of a freaking woolly mammoth. Well, that's exactly what happened to the local people of Yucca, a village near the Laptev Sea of Siberia.
Bro, that mummy had more healthy hair than a lot of people. That mummy's crazy.
What happened to the local people of Yucca, a village near the Laptev Sea of Siberia?
Такого мамонта еще не было, такой сохранности. Это уникальная совершенно находка именно по сохранности тканей, по сохранности клеточных структур.
Found in 2010, the mammoth died approximately 39,000 years ago. Even at somewhere between 6 and 8 years old, it weighed roughly 5 tons. It's now on display in Moscow, and it is quite creepy to say the least. You can clearly make out its face, and stringy strands of light brown hair still cling to its body. It's considered to be the best preserved mammoth in the world, and we can certainly see why. Number 15.
Yo, that's mental, bro. Chat, seeing the mummy and seeing the mammoth literally makes me believe that cryogenic will work. Like, if you could preserve your body in ice, it obviously works. If you could put your body in ice alive, keep you like that, slow down all your whatever, right? All that scientific, how, you know, who's to say that ain't gonna work?
A body.
They'll be able to figure out.
Sadly, we're not talking about an ancient mummy for this one. In
Surely.
2017, a hiker discovered a dead body in a crevasse on New Zealand's Fox Glacier and contacted police. While some believed the corpse was decades old, the fact that it was found in a crevasse led glaciologist Andrew McIntosh to assume that it was no more than 5 years old. His guess was correct. Further study found that the corpse was that of Cynthia Charlton, a British woman who died in a helicopter accident in November 2015. She was one of the crash's 7 victims, which also included her husband. Number 14, Mexican climbers. Now, here's a creepy story for you. A climber on the slopes of Mexico's Pico de Orizaba slipped and came face to face with a mummified head and arm protruding from the snow.
An expedition to recover a mummified body buried in the snow on Mexico's tallest mountain is planned for early Thursday. The mummified body was found by a group of hikers on March 1 on the north side of Pico de Orizaba.
That's how episodes of CSI start. The authorities were called in, and 2 more frozen mummies were eventually discovered.
The body's skull and a hand were discovered when one of the mountaineers approaching the summit fell about 100 feet before jamming an axe into the snow.
I know, James. That's actually weird.
An 81-year-old named Luis Espinosa declared he knew the mummies, as he was part of a tragic expedition that claimed 3 lives back in 1959. He recognized one of the men from his shirt and ring, which was emblazoned with his initials. It's certainly nice for Luis to finally get some peace, but just imagine being the guy who found a mummified head sticking out.
Oh my god.
Number 13, the remains of Andreas' Arctic expedition.
What's this?
In the late 19th century, Swedish balloonist S.A. Andreas set out to reach the North Pole via hot air balloon. Many experts claimed that this was a terrible idea, but Andreas' optimism and nationalistic pride caused him to ignore their warnings.
What do you think? Would you like to fly, Ivor the Boneless? I don't understand. There is nothing to understand. Once we get enough,
this show's so good.
Isn't that the dream of all humans?
He and 2 companions set off in July 1897 and were never heard from again. It wasn't until 1930 that the remains were found by an expedition studying the nearby glaciers. Included in the find was preserved photographic film, allowing us to see the tragedy firsthand, including photos of the crashed
a good
balloon.
idea.
The balloon had crashed just 2 days after liftoff, and the men had trekked back south. They died approximately 3 months later.
Let go! Let go!
Mad.
Number 12, a preserved mummy head. In 2017, archaeologists found mummies buried in the Zeleny Yar burial site near the Russian town of Selikart. They found 2 mummies, one an adult woman and the other a baby. These mummies are estimated to be 900 years old and are said to be part of an unknown medieval culture. The interesting thing was that the female mummy is the only female in the burial ground, leading some to assume that she was an elite member of society. It's also interesting and creepy because only her head has been preserved. On the head, you can still see her hair and eyelashes, and her face has a green tint due to the copper she was buried in. Number 11, 3 members of the Franklin expedition. Many are familiar with the ill-fated Franklin expedition from Dan Simmons' novel The Terror.
Yo, it is cool seeing these, but hella creepy, man. Disturbing.
And its television adaptation.
Should have run more nails through that lid.
Pull up the ropes and fill it in, Mr. Hickey.
3 members of the expedition, John Torrington, William Brain, and John Hartnell, passed away shortly after departure and before the ships became stuck in the pack ice. They were buried on beachy island Nunavut in 1846 and exhumed in 1984.
Over a century later, in 1984, archaeologists exhumed the bodies to try and work out how they died.
Oh my
God. What anthropologists found were remarkably preserved corpses.
Oh my God.
Incredibly disturbing ones. Their faces are contorted, their eyes frozen open, and their skin horribly frostbitten. Now, imagine opening the coffins and seeing that.
Nah, I couldn't do
10,
that job.
Ice caves and frozen waves. We don't know if this is spectacular or oddly terrifying. Iceland's Vatna Glacier is Europe's 2nd largest ice cap, covering roughly 8% of the country.
We're standing in the middle of the melting Vatna Glacier, and scattered all throughout this glacier are massive vertical sinkholes that are treacherous. They go hundreds, even thousands of feet in.
Wait, are you guys out of your mind? These are all sinkholes. So you decided it's a good idea to go near this area. There's known for sinkholes. You could just go, whoop, gone.
To the earth. It's quite a famous glacier and has been seen in many pieces of pop culture throughout the years, including Game of Thrones and the James Bond film A View to a Kill. Beneath the glacier are massive ice caves with ceilings and walls that look like giant waves frozen in time. They're actually created by geothermal springs. It's surreal, it's gorgeous, but it's also kind of unsettling. Talk about feeling claustrophobic.
This satellite picture taken in 1986, and this one 28 years later, Iceland is melting and that water has to go somewhere.
Number 9, Ötzi the Iceman. Ötzi is perhaps the most famous natural mummy in the world. Found in 1991 on the border of Austria and Italy, Ötzi is the naturally mummified corpse of a man who died around 3300 BC.
I think the Iceman is so special because on the one hand,
He's perfectly preserved, and he really gives us unique insights into this time that we don't know so much about.
The mummy was actually found by German tourists. They were hiking along a mountain path in the Ötztal Alps when they found the upper half of the mummy sticking out of the ice.
Jutting from the ice, the head and bare shoulders of a human corpse. His left arm twisted under his body. Leathery skin still covering his bones.
It's currently believed that the man bled to death after being struck by an arrow. His skinny, discolored, and leathery-looking body is now on display at Italy's South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology.
It's very interesting to understand also the past and where we came from.
Mad.
And how they already were able to adapt to the environment, how they managed to live, and without all these modern technologies we have and so on.
Number 8, a mistake.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. Like, people in those times was living without the technology and that. How? Like, weather's in, like, even without technology now, people do struggle in the weather. Mother Nature. So imagine take away all your technology, all your warm houses, your AC units, your protection. You're just out there in the wilderness, bro. Mad.
Mysterious pyramid.
In recent years, archaeologists have found pyramids all over the world that had been lost for centuries, mistaken as natural formations, or hidden in the most unlikely places.
The internet was abuzz in 2016 when a mysterious pyramid-like structure was photographed in Antarctica. Some people speculated that humans once inhabited Antarctica and built pyramids like the Egyptians.
What?
And conspiracy theorists went straight to aliens.
What is actually a pyramid?
The pyramid in Antarctica is an artificial structure. It would probably be the oldest pyramid on our planet.
It was creepy and it was intriguing, even if we knew the explanation was going to be boring. And it was. Turns out that the pyramid was just the peak of a buried mountain sticking out of the snow.
Right, yeah, so it's not a pyramid then. I was going to say, if that was actually a pyramid, mad, but it's not.
As the University of California's Eric Rignot hilariously and succinctly put it, quote, "This is just a mountain that looks like a pyramid. Still kind of cool, we guess, just not as cool as an ancient Antarctic society."
It's pure fiction. The so-called pyramids in the Google Earth image are just mountains. Their pyramid-like shape is called a horn.
Number 7, dinosaur bones. It turns out that many dinosaur bones have been found in the frozen tundra of the Antarctic. The first were discovered in 1986 by Argentinian geologists Eduardo Olivero and Roberto Scasso, who unearthed remains of an ankylosaur now known as the Antarctopelta oliveroi. These bones were found on James Ross Island, as were bones of a Trinosaura. Other dinosaurs found in Antarctica include those of a Glacialosaurus and the massive carnivore Cryolophosaurus. But it's not like these dinosaurs were roaming an icy landscape.
Rather than just small shards of bone eroded out of the rock, they started finding large, intact skeletons.
Antarctica...
Yo, there's definitely some more, like, crazy shit in Antarctica, though. Like, think about how much of it has not been explored or how much of it has not been digged up. Like, yo.
As we know, it only formed about 25 million years ago, long after the dinosaurs had gone extinct. Before that, it was part of a supercontinent called Gondwana and was actually quite tropical.
Welcome to Antarctica.
Number 6, ancient bacteria. Scientists digging in the Arctic permafrost of Alaska made a startling discovery in 2005. They found ancient bacteria that had been completely frozen in the ice for roughly 32,000 years.
And although it may look harmless enough, this ice could be hiding a deadly secret: cryogenically preserved bacteria and viruses that could be hundreds of thousands of years old.
To make matters even...
Wait. You don't want to go digging that up then? You don't want to go be digging that viruses and shit? You go digging that up, get infected, that we're not prepared for, boom. But we're humans, so we definitely will be digging it up. True.
Creepier, this bacteria came back to life after being thawed, with astrobiologist Richard Hoover claiming, quote, "They immediately started swimming when the ice melted." According to NASA, this made the bacteria, quote, "the first fully described, validated species ever found alive in ancient ice." The extremophiles are now known as Carnobacterium pleistocenium, and they are absolutely terrifying. They came back to life after 30,000 years.
Hier in de permafrost ligt allerlei organisch materiaal opgeslagen, bevroren. Maar als het dooit, dan komen daar heel veel broeikasgassen bij vrij.
Number 5. Mysterious holes. In 2016 and 2017, people around the world were creeped out when massive holes appeared in the Antarctic ice. These holes were found in the Weddell Sea, and one covered an area of 31,000 square miles, making it roughly the size of Maine.
Wow.
Now, that is one big hole. Experts deduce that this was a palinia, which is a fancy term for a hole of open water in the middle of sea ice. And while scientists knew what the hole was, they didn't know how it got there, as palinias are typically found near the coast.
Oh, have you changed, mate?
Now known as the Weddell palinia, it hadn't been seen since 1976. It was likely caused by an intense winter cyclone. Number 4. Bloody-looking water. If this list proves anything, it's that Antarctica is the place of nightmares.
Blood Falls is a bit of an obsession for a lot of people.
That's what?
I mean, there's nothing else like this on Earth.
It's like this really visceral feature just jumps out at you.
Where else can you find what looks like blood pouring out of the side of a glacier? The area is fittingly named Blood Falls, and it flows from Taylor Glacier onto the surface of Lake Bonny. The falls were discovered in 1911 by Australian geologist Griffith Taylor, hence Taylor Glacier. After presumably freaking out, Taylor attributed the blood to red algae.
So there's actually stuff living in the dirt.
Oh yeah,
in the dirt and in the lakes, in the lake ice, in the rocks.
There's actually
you know what? Seeing all this kind of stuff just like creeps me out, man. It actually does. Like all these living things that just live on you and on your foods and your equipment and just everywhere, bro. When I see them, it freaks me out.
Oh yeah, in the dirt and in the lakes, in the lake ice, in the rocks.
There's actually worms in the dirt. There's microscopic worms, nematodes.
It was a good guess, but the blood is actually just salt water tainted with large amounts of iron oxide. Yep, Blood Falls is essentially just rusty water pouring from a glacier. Still horrifying though. Number 3. Viruses. One major fear of global warming is that it could release unknown pathogens into the air.
Right.
Some of which may have the capacity to seriously hinder and endanger humanity.
In December 2016, a remote community in Siberia experienced a mysterious outbreak.
Now this is actually scary.
90 people were hospitalized and a 12-year-old boy died.
In 2015, researchers from China and the United States traveled to the Gulya ice cap in Tibet and drilled a 164-foot hole into the ice to study samples. What they found was positively nightmarish. No less than 33 viruses, 28 of which had never been seen by human eyes.
Scientists worry that as permafrost melts, it could unearth all sorts of diseases we thought we had under control.
According to environmental virologist Chantal Abergel, quote, "We are very far from sampling the entire diversity of viruses on Earth. That's positively unsettling considering that 28 were found in a Tibetan glacier alone."
Yeah, that is terrifying.
I think I'm sick.
Number 2, World War I.
Basically, look at what COVID did, yeah? Look at what COVID did, right? And that wasn't even from Antarctica frozen up. You know what I'm saying? So imagine that all melts, boom, you got so many released. It could be worse. It probably will be worse. And you ain't prepared for. You're not prepared for it.
I think I'm sick.
Number 2, World War I soldiers. During World War I, Allies battled the Austro-Hungarian Empire along the snowy mountains of the Alps. Thousands upon thousands of soldiers were killed by avalanches and the frigid temperatures, which sometimes dipped to -22 Fahrenheit. Beginning in the early 2010s.
Oh, that was a scene from a movie. I actually thought that was a real clip. That was a movie. Yo.
The mountain ice began to melt and started depositing long-lost frozen artifacts around the area. These included weapons, still legible love letters, and dozens of mummified corpses.
Wow.
It's a horrifying symbol of one of the most frightening periods of modern history. Before we continue...
How would that be a real clip? Oh, Chelsea. That's so cute. Chelsea, never go on Twitter or now known X. Trust me, don't go on it. you will see real clips.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about
Trust
our latest
me.
videos.
Don't
you have
open
the
it.
option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1.
You didn't have cameras? There was cameras in World War One. What do you mean? We had cameras. Not good quality.
The remains of a military transport aircraft. In November of 1952, a military transport aircraft carrying 52 people crashed into Alaska's Chugach Mountains. Rescue crews were sent to look for the aircraft, and its tail was found sticking out of the snow on Mount Gannett at an elevation of 8,000 feet.
On with full power.
Oh, this is my fear, this is.
The crash had caused an avalanche and buried the wreckage, and rescue efforts couldn't dig through the thick snow.
Damn.
Rescue was abandoned, and the wreckage was lost for the next 60 years. It wasn't until June 2012 that it was rediscovered by the Alaska Army National Guard. While on a training mission, they discovered the plane's survival raft on Colony Glacier, roughly 14 miles from the crash site. This led to an investigation that uncovered the nearby wreckage.
Oh,
Do you
wow.
agree with our picks? Check
Some creepy frozen things, man. Yo, those mummies were terrifying, though.